I'll be using this to mix my glue on, and I'm using 5-minute 2-part epoxy. I've got a handful of cocktail sticks, and I'll use those to mix and apply the glue along this rim. I'm also gluing the emitter in place at the same time, because I've noticed it's got a little flange on it. So if I put them together at this stage, there should be a good join, so I can put glue around this edge. I've just got to be careful not to put any epoxy where this switch is. The speaker will be positioned here in this part as I put them together, and then I'll bring it back and join it, making sure all the wires are tucked away. Looks like this is going to be fun. I can't do it with the camera in front of me, so I have to move it. I'll glue it and then we'll come back. So I've mixed more than enough 5-minute epoxy resin. It's starting to go off already. It's starting to go into its jelly stage. And I've covered it on one side of the body, joined the 2 parts together, making sure all the wires are tucked away and not nipped or pinched. And I've put the emitter on. Now I have to admit I put too much glue on and it oozed out, but I'd rather it ooze out and I can then rub down, because the whole thing has to be filled, sanded, primed. There's a lot of work still to do on it, but I'll be honest, it goes together extremely quickly. Okay, so here we are. I feel a bit of an idiot having sprayed this, because I made such a mess of it while I was gluing it on that it's pretty pointless. I could have masked it and sprayed it while it was glued on. Now the body's glued together. Now the join was so thin that what I've decided to do was to make some more grooves using a triangular file, and that will allow me to run this filler. It's the same filler I've used on all of my Star Trek builds. Just use a little bit at a time, and it gives it something better to bite onto. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't get it all in first time, because you're going to sand it down. You're going to need to do it a couple of times, 3 or 4 times in fact. Just gives a base to start from. Let that dry and then start sanding. Here I'm in the process of rubbing down where I put the filler. You can see where the filler's gone in. And there are still some grooves, so I'm going to have to put another coat of filler on it. And then leave that for another day so it hardens. I just put a tiny bit of filler along there. Oh, let's see if we can get this. I think this side was alright actually. Yeah. There we are. Let that dry again and then we'll sand it down again. So I've given this a good sand down. I still think it needs some filling, but I want to give it a coat of primer and then sand that down to see where the holes are. So I've put masking tape over the LEDs, put masking tape under the buttons, and I've put masking tape along the runners and the battery and the trigger. The rest even though I've already sprayed this black, which I shouldn't have done, I'm now going to put primer on it again. I've rubbed it down It's still got the masking tape over the red parts, so I'll leave those in place. So here we are yet again with more sanding. I've still got the masking tape over the front array. Well, I'm still filling. And I'm about to do another rub down. So I'm going to carry on with this, and when we come back I'll show you if I had to fill it again or not. Well, I'm just about done here. The next bit I've got to do, in fact, is take this masking tape off. Okay, so I've sanded this down about as much as I'm going to. There are still lines, but you know, I think it'll be okay. I've super glued the switch in place where I want it, and I put filler in here. This just needs sanding down, and then I'll prime that piece again. And I've masked off the main body from the emitter array, so that can be sprayed black. Then when this dried, I'll cover this up, and then I'll spray the rest of the body, including the cover that slides over here. So I'll get on and do that now.